Yeah, Chris, just to start, obviously got a win last week. You sounded a bit kind of unhappy with the performance, though. I mean, how's the week been since then?
All right, yeah, good. I'm happy with the result. I never turned down a win. I'm not embarrassed to win games of football. I didn't think the team that beat us a couple of weeks ago were that embarrassed when they beat us, and it was a smash and grab. I've got to say, I didn't think it was a smash and grab on Saturday. I think they had the more possession, but we had the clearer cut chances, and I didn't agree. I like Martin Russell. He's a good guy. He's got some really good players. I didn't think it was outrageous that they never got a result. You know, we had the clearer cut chances. From my point of view, a little bit disappointed the way we played, because we've set high standards in the first few games in terms of the way we played, and we didn't really meet those standards. But what I will say, we showed different qualities, which I talked about after the game on Saturday. Desire to keep the ball out the back of the net, desire to work extremely hard to get the blocks in, a great work ethic, and tidy up on our possession, which we've been really good in with the games that we played, and maybe a touch more clinical. There will be games where teams have more possession than us. I want us to dominate possession, as we talked about. But I want us to keep the ball out the back of the net and put it in the other goal. Quite simplistic game in it at times, and we could have made it a little bit more easier for ourselves, but we didn't. But we got the result, and we keep moving forward.
Yeah, and I guess as in the aftermath of that, has it been about kind of drilling home the players those high standards that you talk about, and making sure the levels that Swansea do is an anomaly rather than the norm?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't think it was an incredibly poor performance. We've had the best chances. First off, we were okay. We pressed them. We won the ball back. We just didn't pass it as well as we wanted. We couldn't find the overload in midfield. The back three never got on the ball as much as they should have done, and we turned the ball over cheaply. So for me, it wasn't an incredible performance at Huddersfield and the poorest performance of the season. I want it to be a little bit more in the middle. I want it to be a 7 or an 8 out of 10 every week. If I maybe look at the two games, I thought Huddersfield was sort of a 9 out of 10. Maybe the performance against Swansea was maybe a 6.5 out of 10. So somewhere in the middle is what we're after. But when it isn't, it's important you get the result, and we did, so we can take the confidence going forward into another incredibly tough game on Saturday.
Yeah, you say a tough game on Saturday with Stoke. What do you expect from them?
Well, Michael O'Neill, enormous amount of respect for, know him well. Managed his the national side to incredible success on very limited resources. If we look at it in isolation, and a sort of I think a similar sort of job to what I've got on here, in terms of putting his stamp on it. Over a number of windows, which will be the case here. I'm not getting carried away. We want success. We want to win the next game. We want this season to be a success. But I'm still not getting carried away. There's an awful lot of work to be done, and that isn't just coming from me. That's the same view from the director of football, from the chief exec, and for the owner. They understand that there's a lot of work to be done. And I think from Michael's point of view, he inherited a team that recently dropped out of the Premier League, so a lot of Premier League players, a little bit different to what it's been here. Maybe, obviously, a few years in advance of where we were from the Premier League years. And it's taken time, and I should imagine he's had a roller coaster with it as well as I will have. And I suppose it's a thing that I'm going to have to get used to a little bit, because you're looking for that consistency straight away, and I'm not so sure it's going to be there until we work. We work on the training ground. We work with the conditioning part of it. We work with the medical department, and most importantly, we work on the recruitment. So there's the two big things for me. What I can really affect is with Kieran is the recruitment, and obviously is the bit on the training ground with Alan and the coaches. So they're the two big things. But he's got it to where he wants it to be. If you look through their squad, and I've said it before about a couple of teams that have had 2, 3 and 4 windows, it possibly looks good for Gary Rowett. It looked good for the it looks good or better for Russell Martin, and it'll certainly look good for Michael in terms of where they're at. Consistent performances, consistent results, and a team that I'm sure that second part of the season will be very strong. And I would tip them to definitely be in the playoffs come the end of the season.
Yeah, so I guess then with that in mind, Saturday could be a decent scalp for you to take.
Yeah, it's a good marker, but I think from our point of view, it's an opportunity yet again to go and get a result, which we'll be going now in decent nick with the results that we've had. And from their point of view, they'll want to kick on. They've had some good results recently as well. They've got some good players. Some good players that have stayed with them from the Premier League, and some really good solid Championship players as well. So as I said, he possibly is happy from where his group is at the moment in a lot of things, and obviously we've got loads of work to do. But come Saturday afternoon, it's a game of football which we want to win.
You talk about work to do and squad depth. During the week you had a chance to look at a few players who perhaps haven't played as much in the first team in the friendly win over Huddersfield. What did you kind of learn from that, and what did you take from that?
Well, first of all, which I've just said, I think it's really difficult for pros now. For us to arrange games is really difficult with the 23s as well. I understand the 23 league, but I've got to say my view on it is that from a reserve league point of view, it gives senior players regular football, and it gives younger players an opportunity to play with senior players regularly and up against senior players as well. I'm of the opinion that they'll get more out of that than playing 23 football. Might be slightly controversial, but I'm not that bothered about if it's controversial if I'm or not. That's my opinion. So to arrange these games is difficult. For players not to play any sort of football and then go and play in the first team, you can't replicate game situation just by doing training sessions and doing running drills or tough possession-based football drills. And players want to play games. The attitude of the group yet again was good. A lot of a majority of them. Dale Fry got 60 minutes. Neil Taylor got 60 minutes. Big Uchi, Arnell, James Saliki got minutes. Martin Piero got 45 minutes as well under his belt. I know he scored a couple of goals, but we have to be careful with him because he's been really stop-start for Martin as well, and I feel for the boy as well. He's had his injury issues. He's had the situation where he's not really played Tuesday, Saturday football, and maybe the tempo and the intensity of the Championship is something that it doesn't automatically he automatically embraces. So we have to be careful with Martin. As I said, he only played 45 minutes, so but fingers crossed he'll be okay to be involved at the weekend. But it was good for me to watch and look. I want to win every game, so I'm delighted. Whether it's a cup tie at Mansfield, whether it's a pre-season friendly, whether it's a bounce game, I expect good standards. There's always an opportunity to impress. Somebody's always watching, and that's the attitude of the player should have. Is that this is an opportunity for me to play well, and I've got to say they went about it the right way and played a strong Huddersfield side, and played well and got a result.
Yeah, are those type of games then something we might come to expect?
Definitely, but it's so difficult to arrange them. That's the only issue because everybody's got different schedules. Everybody's got different agendas, and some might be down on numbers, some might be up on numbers. So, but we'll work as hard as possible to set these games up because it is really important that the boys obviously do the work on the training ground, but get minutes behind closed doors games is an opportunity for them to do that.
Yeah, and just on the squad off the back of that, how's it looking for Saturday?
Yeah, a little bit of a concern with Martin coming off after our half time, bumps and bruises from a competitive game on Saturday, but nothing that I don't think there's not going to be a lot of change in terms of the 18 or 19 on that travels down today, and has to play well against a good side.
Yeah, I mean, you are starting to get options back in, with the likes of Deal and Martin, etc. coming back. They're the kind of issues that you spoke about that you want.
It's crucial. It's a must. I look at every championship group, and there might be some more talented groups than others, but I think one of the things that I know about this division is that if you look at Millwall, if you look at Preston, if you look at Swansea, if you look at Huddersfield, if you look at these teams, you look at Stoke City, they've got competition for places all over. They might have a few injuries, but they've still got strength in depth. They've got a good, strong bench, and they have that situation where they can change it around, and really nothing really changes. So competition for places, whether it's tactically you want to change it, whether physically you need to change it because you think, well, somebody might need a little bit of a breather, or whether it's a loss of form. So there's no shoe-ins. People have got to play well to get into the team, to stay in the team, but sometimes that doesn't happen. But really, as I've talked about at length, how I want it to look at is we're quite a way off, and it will take time, but we'll get there.
Yeah, obviously a big part of that will be working the transfer window. January can be quite a difficult window, but I know you're doing a lot of preparation for January, but at what point does that kind of step up and become kind of contacting clubs? Is it too early for that?
No, it's happening now. It's happening now. We're contacting. We're looking at availability of players. There will be definite movement in January. There'll be movement coming in, and there'll be movement going out. And then we move on to the summer window. So, we've possibly got 3 huge windows in front of us, and obviously the 2 difficult ones are the January ones, but the big one is obviously in the summer. So I want to get to that in a good place. I want to get to that with momentum. I want to get to that with a good feel-good factor about the place, that people have got that enthusiasm still, which I believe they have. That players have improved, that the players that were here who will stay, that we do our business smart, which I'm sure we will, and we get that group looking like I want it to look, maybe how Michael wants it to look now. And this is, I've got to say, Stoke's a big club in the division, long time in the Premier League, ourselves, in the past we're a long time in the Premier League, so similar types of clubs, and you've seen how difficult it is for Michael. My frustration is that, as a competitor, I want to get there. I want to win that race as soon as I possibly can. But I'm happy that I've got that feeling. So that feeling is good for me, and will benefit everybody at the club.
Yeah, and I guess with that in mind, I mean, it doesn't always kind of work out that way, but I guess all the work you're doing now, will stand you in good stead to try and maybe get a few early deals done, which could be, extra helpful if you can get a few bodies in early.
Definitely, we'll look to do it as soon as we possibly can. Listen, it might be somebody towards the back end, but we want the deals that we're working very, very hard at the moment to be ready for. I think the first possible game will be the FA Cup game, I should imagine. So, which is going to be a tough game. So we want the business done, the majority of the business done then, or the first league game after that.
Yeah, I mean, lastly for me, you touched on it there, the FA Cup drawn away to Mansfield. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
I want to win every game, everything that we do. I want that attitude right the way through the club, whether it's 23s, whether it's 18s. Whatever it is, there has to be that attitude, especially at senior level, which it goes into 18s, goes into 23s. Of course, they're developing footballers, so they have to develop their skills and the way they play. But without that competitive attitude, whether it's 18s, 23s, whether it's the first pre-season game at Bishop Auckland, whether it's a playoff final, whether it's an FA Cup third round game, you've got to have that running through your football club. I won't accept anything less, whether it's a bounce game behind closed doors. I'm not happy if, of course you want different things at times you might want, but you want that I want people to win. I want people to want to win, want to improve. So I know Nigel really well. He'll be behind a cup upset, but we'll have 2,500, 3,000 supporters going down there. I don't want us to be the upset of the round or one of the upsets of the round. I want to progress in that competition. We want to build momentum. We want to win games of football. We want big games at the Riverside. And if for us to have big games at the Riverside, we've got to go and take care of Mansfield, and the attitude will be there from the off. And if it is, it'll give us a great chance of winning.
Yeah, you mentioned that momentum, and there's a lot of people now who kind of view competitions as kind of getting in the way of priorities in the league, but momentum can be a big thing. Is that something?
100%, because there's been inconsistency for a long time. There's been inconsistency. Let's get it right for quite a number of years. It's not inconsistency over the last 6 months. It's been quite a longer period than that, hasn't there? I think if we put our cards on the table, and we have to try and build that consistency, and it only comes, in my opinion, through an attitude. Cheers.
You mentioned there about you've already conducted early business, and when from the start you mentioned how you're going to have a look at the whole thing when you've first come into the club. So with that in mind, have you sort of firmed up those decisions on who may well be heading out the door? I don't expect you to say who. Yeah, we have. Yeah. I mean, you have an idea when you come in who'll fit and who maybe not. Who some people will flourish and some people might struggle, and that isn't personal. That's part and parcel of a manager going in, and they're the difficult decisions, but they're professional decisions, and people understand that, accept that, and that's part and parcel of being a pro, and part and parcel of my job. I've got to do that, and I'll do that. No doubt about it. It's quite daft because I'm quite soft at home. I think if you ask me family, I'm quite a bit of a pushover, but when it comes to my professional life, those decisions will be made in an heartbeat for the benefit of the football club, not the benefit for me, not the benefit of somebody else, for the benefit of the football club, the sole intention of making this football club better. Has that ruthlessness been what's required then at this football club, do you think?
Well, I can't really judge. I can't really talk about what's gone off. I'm going to talk about what I've got in front of me, and those decisions will be made from my point of view to make us better, because that's what we have to do. We've got to make us better. If we want to progress and want to get to where we want to be, we've got to move forward. We might move forward sometimes off the back of a not so good performance and get a result. We might not get a result on Saturday, and we might play better than we did last Saturday. So there's different ways of moving forward, but there has to be that ruthlessness in terms of decision making, and you have to make them, and I've got no issue in making them, and that's not being arrogant or I'm this or that. I'll make it because I'm employed to make tough decisions, and the owner will expect me to do it, and he's had to make tough decisions to get to where he wanted to be in his professional life. It's a great example, and we all have to do that, and we'll do that for the benefit 100% of the football club.
As you mentioned at the start of your reign as well, you have a look at the whole complexion of things, including the medical departments, where there's been lots of injuries this season. Have you had a chance to dissect what may have gone wrong with?
Well, different ways of working. So you respect different ways of working, and you want to work in the way that you work. So we have to have healthy, robust footballers. So that can't be changed overnight. The recruitment, we can't all of a sudden go 12 players out, 12 players in. That's not going to be done overnight. We can't affect all of a sudden the players that we want to build the team around overnight. So that's going to take time. And as I said, I think you've had interactions with me now for the last 3 or 4 weeks. It is how it is. It's no spin. I'm not trying to, buy myself some time. I'm just saying it as it is, and it is going to take time. And there's going to be, and Michael O'Neill have had the same. There were, and there'll be a backward step. As long as the majority of the steps that we take are moving forward, then we're on the right track. But everything, Kieran's come in to implement a recruitment system that supports all the stuff that we're trying to do, and is a strong one. There's obviously been a change from the academy point of view in terms of the appointment of Mark Tinkler, which is going to be a good one. There'll be a new 18s coach coming in. I'm sure from a recruitment point of view, there's work that's been done behind the scenes in improving that department. From a medical department, we're looking at everything, because we have to get it to where we want to get it to. And if there's decisions have to be made on that, they understand that. But that's not saying there's a lot of talented people around the football club. So I'm not coming in with a wrecking ball, and smashing it all to bits, because a lot of stuff here is very, very good. It just we need to get in line how we want to work, which I feel is going to benefit the football club.
Speaking of making those steps forward, as you mentioned, we spoke to Paddy McNair yesterday, who sort of waxed lyrical about the training sessions he's had under you, and I know you've not necessarily said that you're bothered whether they enjoy it or not, but good feedback nonetheless. Yeah,
I mean, we want them to. I've always felt, in my bang average football career, that my best football is being played when I've enjoyed coming to work. I've enjoyed always coming to work. I think it's a brilliant life. Let's get it right, For sometimes when footballers moan about the lot, I think they need to give their head a shake a little, really, because they've got a fabulous life. They get paid really well. They've got a football club that's got brilliant facilities here. I'm not saying anybody's moaning about it here, and they've got supporters who I've said are incredibly enthusiastic towards them and want them to do well. As seen last Saturday, that wasn't spin. That was me genuinely feeling the last 10 minutes they got us over the line 100%, and they want us to do well. I'm sure they want me to do well. They want whatever's happening now to go well. Paddy's a really good player, and he's somebody we want to keep and we want to build around, because he's got all the attributes to be. He is already an international player. He's got all the attributes to play in that big league, and I'm not going to shy away from that. That's where we want to be. That's where Stoke want to be who we're playing on Saturday. They want to be in the playoffs. They want to get out of the division. They want to get back into the Premier League. I'm not going to take the pressure off the players, and Paddy will understand that, because he's a good player. He wants to get there, and we've got to have players of that calibre that supplements what we've got in the Paddy McNairs of this world. Brilliant character, really good pro, and a very, very talented footballer who has got a mindset of wanting to achieve. So in terms of the training sessions, it's not an holiday camp. We're not stuck away behind bars. So it's somewhere in between. I should imagine that. We'll have a joke at the right time, but we're here to work, and the working week is really important to us. But Paddy's attitude has been first class, and somebody that we're delighted to work with.
Just finally from me on Stoke City, I think the gap, they occupy the final playoff space. The gap is 5 points, and again, it's a prime example of how tight the table still is in the Championship, and it goes like.
We just want to keep moving forward. Want to get another result. It's going to be a tough ask, possibly the toughest one so far this season since we've been here. As I said, talented manager, some really good Championship players, and some players that have produced the goods in the big league as well. So a club that's desperate to get back into the Premier League as we are. As I said, it's took them time to get to where Michael wants it to be, but I should imagine he's comfortable of where he's at. He's got some good talented young players as well, and it's a well balanced, very competitive squad. I've got to say it's our toughest challenge so far, and we've got to be at our very, very best to get a result. But players can feel confident. I believe they've got that inner belief that they back themselves and go and get a result. But we're going to have to do a lot of things right on Saturday, and if we can do that, then great. Hopefully we'll get that result that we're after.
I want to ask you about the effect that the fans can have on the result on Saturday. We saw it, tremendous support at Huddersfield. Can there be that 12th man again?
Yeah, I mean we have to. I've always said it's not for me to demand their support. We have to earn it, and I think they've seen early signs of what we're about as a coaching staff and what we're trying to implement onto the team. As I've said, when I first joined the club, it's certainly a great fit for me and my staff, and hopefully we can prove to be a good fit for the supporters and the football club. It's an incredible passion around the place for us to do well. There has been, the club has taken some hits recently, and it isn't where we want it to be, all of us. But if we keep producing performances, I'm sure we'll get the backing. And of course, there's always things that don't go as well as we'd all like it to be, and I think supporters understand that, especially here, because they know the game, they know what football's all about. Very knowledgeable, and they're going to be because of the past teams and the past players they've had. But through the reception I got when I first walked out against Millwall to the last 10 minutes, where they all knew that it was a struggle for the players. I knew it was a struggle for the players because we never really got into a rhythm. We never killed them off. We never, put them to bed, because we should have done. It should have been 2 or 3, and that would have made it a lot more comfortable, enjoyable last 10 minutes. But it wasn't. But in a way, it was good, because I think it showed what the support was all about, and they really pushed the boys over the line, and the boys responded to their support. So I think if there's ever a 10 minutes in isolation, what a support can do for a team, it was that 10 minutes on Saturday, and we've got to continue to build that relationship.
It's interesting going back to Saturday, because Swansea as a club have a certain way of playing they have for a long time. Already we as fans looking at it, we can see your impact. We're playing in a different way. Are we already, like, is it already for you? Is it already the Chris Wilder plan coming out that we can see?
Yeah, well, try to. At times, not exactly how I want it to look. But at times through the games, some periods longer than others. I thought, as I said, for half an hour against Preston, it was really good. I know half an hour is not enough. For long periods against Huddersfield, it was really good, and different attributes. I've got to say, looking back at the game on Saturday, there's a lot of things that I think there's a load of work still to be done with, but there's a lot of other good things, that I really enjoy. I love a big tackle, I've got to say, and there were some big tackles. I love a big block, I love a big header. Possibly the best, which is a bit ridiculous really, but in the context of the game, Paddy's clearance off the line, he never gave it up, and his reaction and the supporters' reaction for him making a goal line clearance and saving us a goal was brilliant. So there's different ways of looking at games. I want us to control, I want us to play in a manner like we did at Huddersfield, that we controlled and dictated the game and created some good chances. But I want us to show the ugly side of it as well, and I've got to say, I think supporters in the North understand and appreciate sometimes the uglier side of the game as well. Maybe that's more because I believe that we have a little bit more of a better understanding of the whole overall game of football. It isn't just about passing it 100 times between 2 centre-halves and not getting anywhere. It's sometimes a little bit more to the game than that.
And how much of a difference can Isaiah Jones actually scoring the goal, being so calm, how much of a difference can it be for him and his career?
Well, he's a young man. He's come a long way in a very, very short period of time, so not too much pressure on him. He's got loads to work at. He's got loads to learn the position, because it's a really new position. He's come in as a winger, so he's got the other part of the game to work out and work with us on a Monday to Friday, and he's going to make mistakes. But he's a positive boy. He takes the game to the opposition. We've talked about his end bit, his end product, the last pass, the last cross, the last run, the last finish. So 2 games he's had an assist at Huddersfield, a great run as well as a fabulous final ball and a great finish on Saturday. So it really is important in the system that we play that we don't just rely on a 10 and a 9. We've got to have goals from midfield. We've got to have goals from set plays, and the wing backs, in terms of the structure and the way we play the game, allows them to get in good positions to assist and score, and it's important that they do that.